Are people overblowing Biden's mental impairment, or are people being gaslit into believing Biden's totally fine? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. U.S. President Joe Biden isn't exactly known for being spry. He is over 80. And his old age and fitness top the list of voters' concerns. People now wonder if Biden's even mentally there, thanks in no small part to his tendency to slip up, both literally and figuratively.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to It impacted decades in making because inaction was inaction for much too long.
This is a proverbial gold mine for his critics. They can use footage like this to paint Biden in the most negative light, which is exactly what they're doing. The message is more than just saying Biden's too old. They want to hit home the idea that Biden's too mentally unfit to run the country. Senile, even. If I had to describe their strategy in a single word, it would be... Aside from showing clips of Biden stuttering, they show Biden seemingly getting lost, which seems to happen quite often. Like, really often. He acts like someone just quantum leaped into his body who's never quantum leaped before, and that person is also a senior citizen. In this clip, the New York Post claims that Biden appeared to wander off at the latest G7 summit. Another alleged instance of Biden having a senior moment was during a D-Day anniversary ceremony in France. Many assumed that Biden was trying to sit in a chair that wasn't there. Either that or Biden pooped his pants. Okay, I know that looks bad, but everything's fine because Karine Jean-Pierre said all those videos are all deep fakes. She's asking us to reject what we can see with our own eyes? Is this gaslighting on a new level? The mainstream media would say, what? We're not gaslighting you. We've never mentioned anything about this. You're acting crazy right now. So are liberal media outlets running cover for Biden as part of a push for social media censorship? Well, once again, it's time for my favorite segment of the show. Wait, is that true? Like Transformers, there's more than meets the eye. First of all, the White House isn't claiming all these videos of Biden looking bad are deep fakes. Here's what Karine Jean-Pierre actually said.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video.
Yes, cheap fakes. Now, some assumed she meant to say deep fakes and are saying she's lost it too, but cheap fakes are a thing. It's when you make subtle edits to a video to push a false narrative without the use of deep fakes or AI. Cheap fakes can be rendered through Photoshop, lookalikes, recontextualizing footage, speeding, or slowing. Let's first look at the G7 summit. Despite what the video implies, it's not like Biden was wandering off out of the blue. Biden and the other G7 leaders were at a skydiving flag ceremony, with Italian paratroopers coming in with the flags of different countries. Because what better way to welcome the most powerful leaders in the world than with a stunt you'd see to kick off a monster truck rally? As you can see here, Biden is facing those paratroopers to the far right with the French flag. Biden walked off to acknowledge them by giving them a thumbs up. Here's another angle showing Biden facing the soldiers kneeling with the French flag. This simply isn't the type of context people get from clips focused just on Biden in portrait mode. But what about Biden during the D-Day ceremony? Did he try to sit in a chair that wasn't there? Did he poop himself? Well, not exactly. Actually, no. There were chairs. If you look further into the D-Day anniversary event, you see that Biden is clearly just second-guessing when to sit down.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin III, Secretary of Defense of the United States of America.
To be fair, Biden is Catholic. If you've ever been to a Catholic service, and may I remind you that I have 7 years of Catholic schooling in me, you know it's nothing but endless standing up and sitting back down. His muscle memory may have kicked in. I wouldn't be surprised if he also said, "And peace be with you." It's easy to poke fun at Biden when he isn't sure where to look, where to go, or what exactly to do in public events all the time. But those things alone don't prove that Biden is lost in senior moments. The same goes for small things like Biden being guided, just standing still, sometimes a bit too long, or not clapping on beat. That may be less about him being old and senile and more about him being old and super white. Do these videos show Biden being old and slow? Sure. But it's a completely different thing to say that Biden is mentally incapacitated. Those two things aren't the same. And editing these clips to push a false narrative is not a good look. It's also not a good look when they do it to Trump either. Here's CNN's coverage of Trump feeding fish with then Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. It zoomed in on Trump dumping a box of food into a koi pond, leading many to have an unfavorable view of Trump's behavior. Zoom out, however, and you'll see that Trump only dumped his box after seeing Abe do it first. In another example, this article claimed that a Trump handshake was rejected by the then Polish First Lady. But had the author taken a few more extra seconds to look through footage, he would have found that Trump definitely got her handshake. But hey, who has an extra 3 seconds to spare for journalistic integrity? They have deadlines. Here's a good one. This tweet by a BBC correspondent claimed that Trump wasn't listening to a translation during a G7 summit. It really does seem like that from one angle, but look at another angle and you'll see that Trump was actually listening. Should have known he would have chosen to do this in a right-leaning manner. Selectively choosing snippets of footage to make people you don't like look bad without proper context is a game both sides of the political aisle are playing. And it's infuriating because whatever happened to the good old days, when politicians could win on policy, debate, and most importantly, making smear ads with scary voiceovers.
There is nothing more sacred than our democracy, but Donald Trump's ready to burn it all down.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Yes, like that. Wait, was that Caesar from Fallout New Vegas?
They have no vision. They offer no future. They're a dead end.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
If that wasn't him, at least the Biden campaign is using deep fakes and not cheap fakes. Progress? It can be time-consuming and tiring trying to figure out what's really true. That's where America Uncovered comes in, examining what people are saying without personal agendas against politicians like Biden or Trump. Fortunately, talking about politics ain't exactly something YouTube likes, which is why I need your help. Help the show out by liking and subscribing. YouTube has been mass unsubscribing people, so make sure you're still subscribed. And if you can, support the show on patreon.com/America Uncovered. You can contribute however much you want on a monthly basis, but you can also set it up for just $1 an episode. Just click that orange button. Another way I'm getting around YouTube censorship is by hiding controversial topics in gaming content. In Elden Ring, Shadows of the Erdtree, the world is run by aging political leaders who have been in charge forever and demand utter loyalty and faith in them, while making the people of the land fight each other. Yeah, I wonder if there's anything to say about modern America. Click here. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.